Getting on the track was more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be really fun. So I've been inspired to make some improvements to this car, make it quicker on the track, and I've been tackling little things over the last week. Let me show you what I've done. In the engine bay, I've done a few things. I made a oil catch can that sits right down there. I don't really love the look of those big aluminum catch cans that people mount on the inner fenders, so I figured this was a pretty elegant solution. It's got a little rib there to hold it in place, and easy to empty and legal for the track, so that's great. I also improved the wiring and cleaned it up quite a bit. So first off, I ran the headlight and signal wires for the passenger side entirely through this channel. It used to mostly go through the channel, but I had a little jump right there. Now it is much more hidden and cleaner because I don't like looking at wiring. So that is an improvement. I also cleaned up my fan wiring and relocated the relay to be hidden right here, kind of in the horn compartment. Made a little mount, and it's no longer blocking that part of the radiator. So I think that's about as clean as I can get it for having an electric fan. And overall, I'm really happy with this. In the cockpit is where the bigger changes are. Notably, a stacked tach. Finally, accurate RPMs. As far as motorsports tachs go, this is about as good as you can get. And I made a little adapter to fit the OEM trim bezel ring around it. And I don't think it really looks out of place. I'm very happy with it and very happy to finally have an accurate tach so I can ring this thing out safely and know where I'm at. What I'm not so happy with, and I'd love your guys' opinion, is I put the two buttons for the tach right here in the dash. In hindsight, I wish I hid them away under the dash and made a bracket, put them somewhere in there with the PDM. I think they just make it a little too busy. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. I might end up yanking those, filling those holes, repainting it, and moving them. But for now, it's fine. And I do use them. I mean, I use the Max Tel a lot. So I'll show you how it works. Just recalls your RPMs from the last session, and then you can reset it. This also, you can also like replay full sessions and do all sorts of stuff. So that's great. That's a necessary thing to have on the track, and I'm happy. The other thing I did was install a data system. I did some research. I was considering the AIM unit. I was looking at the Garmin units as well, but ended up putting a Racebox Micro under here. You can kind of see it there. I have it mounted level, and I have it wired up to the data switch. And what this will give me is lap times, split times, some basic telemetry. Obviously, I don't have brake pressure sensors and steering angle sensors. I kind of wish I did, but you know, this car isn't that. This is a vintage race car. It's not really a cutting edge, you know, last hundredth of a second type of deal. So this gives me GPS lines, sector times, G-force in corners. It'll give me a lot of data, and I think it'll help me improve my driving, and I think it's the right fit for this car. Totally hidden away, out of place, and when I'm on the track, I just hit the data switch. It grabs a GPS signal, records all the data, also sends it to my phone, which I can have mounted right here to keep an eye on my lap times and sector times, and that's going to make a remarkable difference in my rate of improvement. So those were the fun projects. I've done a bunch of other little things that were a lot less fun. I noticed on one of my door hinges, some of the fastening bolts were loosening a little bit, which is scary. You don't want the door moving. You can, you know, ding up the paint and stuff. So redid those, retorqued those, and took a paint marker pen for bolts, put a little streak across those so I can see if they move. Yeah, redid the wiring like I showed you. Oh, the steering wheel was slightly off center. The toe's where I want it, but it's just like trial and error, man. It's like I string the car up, move the steering wheel a little bit, get under the car, adjust the tie rods, drop the car, go drive it, see if it's straight, and rinse and repeat. So I think I'm pretty dead on now. It's like it's hard to find a road around here that has no crown, no camber, and that's dead straight. So it just takes some driving around, but I'm picky and I really want it to be perfect. So I'm either there or like one iteration away from there. Now I know how much like a one flat of a turn on the tie rod does. So getting really familiar with that process. And then I want to go through and just nut and bolt the car again. You know, it's funny. There's a few, like there's a new rattle back here. I don't know what it is. So I just have to get like someone to look or someone to make the car, to rev the car a bit while I'm looking back there to see what that stuff is. And sometimes it's hard to chase those noises down, but it's a work in progress. What I found is that running a car on what we'll call a race program, but you know, a track safe program, is just a huge amount more work than running it to the standards for like a street car. When you're ringing this out and you're like full throttle or no throttle all the time and everything's vibrating and you're running high RPMs, like stuff just, it beats the car up more, stuff loosens, all sorts of stuff. So I'm trying to put together a bit of a program for this car, see what needs my attention and when, and start to put a timeline on various things to check. Obviously, I'm new at this, so I'm just doing the best I can, but really excited to have an accurate tach, really excited to have accurate data for lap times, and I'm working on some wheels and some slicks, so I can't wait to do more track days. That's sort of the near-term goal with this, is just work on my driving, get competitive lap times, and focus on my work as well, because if work goes well, maybe I'll consider some Vara B sedan racing. I don't know. I don't want to bang this thing up, so we'll see. For now, I'm just going to work on my driving, but that's a bit of an update. Let me know your guys' thoughts on these things. I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, you shouldn't have put a stack tach in there. The OEM tach looks great. Well, that's true, but not much about this car is OEM, as you can see. One of the reasons I bought a 1750 1971 GTV is I love the OEM Jaeger instruments, but more than that, I love having an accurate tach. So I think the stack looks pretty good. So I'm happy with it. I'll show you how it works.